getting this messy. We want to prove to the whole world that the impossible dream can happen.
That's right. You're it. If anything's gonna happen, it's gonna be because you got into the game. You started playing Whole Earth game, and together we can seed what's going to happen. Because this may be the last day that we can experience. This is going to be, mark your calendars. And on the Mayan date, if you notice, it's a 12/4/12 date. And I ask you, are there any coincidences? And of course, Hermetic principles tell us there are no such thing as anything. There's no such thing as luck. There's no coincidence. Everything comes to us by a method of cause and effect. The law of correspondence tells us that everything we put out comes right back to us. Okay, so the Mayans are telling us in advance. I mean, when you come up with these dates, you have to look at it. Just all it is to take a pause and say 13th, 13. Okay, we're in this borrowed time of 12/4/12, which I haven't really grasped either. So it's interesting, 1200. Anyway, doesn't matter whether you get that, the math of the calendar. What matters is that you know the numbers of the calendar so that you are aware of where we are in galactic time. See, the Mayans understand galactic time, and we are just now still struggling just to take one day at a time. Okay, so the last year, what we tried to do is we set forward the 7/14, the Bastille of the modern era, the Declaration of Human Sovereignty. These are, in my estimation, the best words that you could use to combat whatever is coming our way in the future, both foreign and domestic, both terrestrial and extraterrestrial. You are the most important person you have ever been, and you are the most important person you can ever be, and they want you. They want you alive, and they want you to do certain things, and you can decide whether to go their way or to go your own way, and there's no wrong way. If you are happy, joyful, and are free, then you are where you need to be. If you're not, then come along with us and see if we can get that way. Okay. So before, I made this book. It's called Play Whole Earth Game. And I did it. I was hanging out at KPFK Stick Radio, and I was just hanging out, just being a groupie, really. And I had met some people there. Mostly these people. I say in the acknowledgments of this book, okay, because it's so important. Oh, yeah. Roy of Hollywood, Terrence McNally, Amy Goodman, of course, Sonali Kolhatkar, Alan Watts, major key player, no longer with us, but this is what we do. We follow his model and we get a better result. Maria Armudian, Christine Blasdale, Alan Minsky, Jerry Quickly, Margaret Prescott, Lila Garrett. Thanks, Lila, for all you did. Caroline Casey. Thanks, Caroline. Don Bastani. Thank you, Don, for all you did. That was so great to know you. Jim Lafferty, the Lawyers Guild. Love Jim. Come on. Love you, Jim. Susie Wiseman, another super important person in my education. Mitch Jeserich, Michael Slate, and so many more. I mean, everybody who's on that is just such wise people. So you can learn anything you want from the University of KPFK, Free Speech Radio at 90.9 and 90.7 on the FM dial if you want to listen to live radio, the last of the live radio, the last of the best stuff. Because their music programs are amazing too. I didn't acknowledge the music people, but because I'm still one. So the way this thing worked is that I had this whole plan figured out at Art Center College of Design in Pasadena. And it was because I was listening to KPFK that I could ask those proper questions and find out the answers to this line of thinking that I think is the future. And it's so easy. If you figured this out, you'd be in the game. We'd be all working together. See, that's the thing. We need to figure out how to work together. One whole earth. Everyone is on one. We are all connected, right? There's no separate. There's nothing separate. We're all in this together. I can't remember it now, of course, but it's the cosmic one. It's the ultimate one. It's the divine one. So if you're in the divine one, now the next thing is to be Tres Magistus, remember? So Tres Magistus is about being that person, the Christ-like person who has what we need and is able to share it. See what it says right there? It says, like, subscribe, and share. That's what we have to do. That makes us Tres Magistus. When you do the share part, that's when you're giving. Okay, now you're Tres Magistus. So if you like, subscribe, and share, you can be Tres Magistus too. So leave a comment leave a comment and let me know what time you became Tres Magistus, because I just gave you the ability. So whatever time it is, just put the timestamp there. And if you don't believe me, now do your own research. So if we go to the Declaration of Human Sovereignty, we know that we are here for someone else's purpose. I mean, this is the big thing. This is in Greg Braden, one of my other teachers in the subject of what is going on that we're not being told. Let's go back over here. So Greg Braden's like, okay, well, this is the thing. So we are manufactured by other people. Like, are we manufactured by Sumerians? Are we manufactured by when you look at the 714 Declaration, you'll see what types of aliens are out there. I mean, we are everything, and we are all in this together still. Okay, we cannot get away. Once we hit this level of intellect, we come here and all look pretty much the same. I mean, they thought if you just different colors wasn't going to matter. People look like people. They'll all figure it out that they all are the same, right? Nobody's going to figure out that if somebody's a different color. They're just all going to understand that they're just people, right? And they're all going to get along. How long have we used this planet and never fucked it up? I mean, I think that there are some 13,000 year cycles that came and never touched technology ever. Think about that for a minute. One of those 13,000 that we're in now has happened before. And then 13 before, and do the math to see how many times you can do 13,000, whatever that is, number. Just take that note, take 1 million and divide it by that number and see how many times you come up with. So we might have done this a couple times. We know this to be true. So just remember that moving forward. When you're playing the game, remember that we're going to use the things. The thing we're going to do is we're going to use the Mayan and Toltec rules to play it, and that is use kind, impeccable speech to yourself and then to other people, and you can conjure anything you want. If you are kind, a kind word is where the big money is. Next one, don't make assumptions or gossip. Stop that, whatever you're doing. Don't do it. Don't do it. A lot of times what we do is we make an assumption like we just decided that since there was a huge fire in LA, everything's going to burn and it's going to continue to burn. It's never going to stop burning. It's never, that's not what happens in a fire. I mean, these things are one-time events. You can't burn twice. After you've scorched the earth, it's completely scorched. Now, the time we found this out was with Ponce de Leon when he was coming up to the Mississippi, killing everything in his path, looking for a couple of pieces of gold. And the people didn't give a fuck about gold. They were done with money. They had no need for stuff. There was enough corn and good times and beautiful women and no disease. Can you imagine? Villages and all the way up the Mississippi with beautiful women and men and no disease and no guilt, no shame, no fear, and no doubt. The day before Ponce de Leon arrived on the shores with his disease, it had been forever, and forever had been a dream. Forever had been no disease. The most beautiful men and women, kind, gentle, for the most part, they were filled with integrity. Already had transcended the need for anything. They would build earth mounds together. And when the floods came, they would go to the top of the earth mounds and they were together. They made sure there was enough room so they could all survive together. The day before Ponce de Leon and Columbus and all those horrible disease people coming in from the European, it was perfect here. Just fine. And even down in Mexico, what we have been taught in many cases to revile and to find, somehow revolting, were people that had created a situation such a high level, such a high level of rules and regulations and strict adherence to the gods. Highest level of integrity is what you brought with you if you were an Aztec. And when it came time for your time, amazing. If you were held captive, flower war, I had to take care of you for a full year before you were sacrificed. For a full year, I had to teach you everything so that you could become my brother. Think about that for a minute. If you had to, every person you fought in battle had to be with you for a year before you could kill them. That is pretty intense. So it was not by a lark by any means that people were being sacrificed and they were using the protein to survive because they had killed all the other protein in the valley. There's no other protein in Mexico. Nothing but little teeny birds, and they were going after them too. They had hummingbird. They had literally had hummingbird tapestries. So they were voracious. But anyway, another thing. So moving forward, we are at that last day. It's a day. It's a beautiful number. It's 13.12.4.12. Tomorrow is the inauguration of a openly admitted and 39 times convicted rapist, felon. I mean, this guy, you could not make, if you made up a DC comic and plotted a villain, they would say, this is not believable. Yet, here we are. And there's a band plan while this guy takes over and destroys the Constitution of the United States of America. And not for anything else, but for sheer ability to do it. Do you remember I know that everybody knows about 1984 and George Orwell. In 1984, you've studied this manuscript. You know it by heart. I know you all know it by heart. If you don't, you should go back and watch the movie 4 or 5 times, read the book 4 or 5 times, listen to the audio book as many times as it takes to see what is coming your way. You signed up for it. Everybody wants to make this experiment to see what's going to look like. Okay. So go back to 1984, George Orwell. I would imagine if you can put LibriVox.org or LibriVox, I think.com or LibriVox, if you could put the link there in the comments section, or I'm asking Renee if she'll find it. And so LibriVox is the best place to get an audiobook. It's public domain books available to listen. And that has been the thing that I use to keep my head above water. I don't want to be let anybody get behind me in terms of that's the one. I don't want to get anybody behind me in terms of knowledge of basic history. I did have someone who was a Haitian man, and he looked at me when I asked him about the 1812 situation, and he looked at me. He's like, "You don't even know, do you?" I'm like, "Whoa." I'm like, "The 1812 overture, I just know a piece of music about it. What does this mean?" He's like, "No." That's the last time they stormed the Capitol. They were going after the same group of people were going to go after our democracy in 1812. We didn't even know that, probably, huh? It's not the first time we've had to battle for this thing. We are going to go to guns. It's going to go to war. It's going to be ugly. This is nothing. They don't let these things go away without a lot of blood. When these folks get in charge, they like blood, they like filth, they like terror, they like fear and terror, and they will you wait and see. It's game on, and they're all Nazis. They've all been groomed by Nazis. Okay, now the thing that we want to forget, we want to gloss over, is the fact that our beloved Bush family were direct descendants from Nazis. And they worked with us, and they worked in front of us without, tipping the hand. See, Donald Trump is too stupid to keep the secret. So he absolves all of the wrongs that the Nazis have done from the George Bush family. With the starting with the assassination of JFK and Robert Kennedy and Martin Luther King. I mean, that's what they did, and then they lied to us through the whole process, and now we're here again. But we liked it because it felt good. It felt like we had everything we needed and wanted. But as we learned from John Trudell, once we started to taste a little bit of the affluence, they didn't want to give us to us anymore, and they decided to stop that. They're going to put our foot down, and so they created this whole illusion in Donald Trump, and they just installed him. All of the media is behind this. These young this is what's happening. Here we are. The techies are controlling the planet. Now, the next level should be the tech will be the servant of the people to allow us to have those things we need. Robots can build houses quickly, so housing, water, food, energy, and occupation. If I have a robot that can do welding, I would rather have the robot that does the welding rather than have to deal with a person who doesn't want to show up to work and do that kind of thing. This is what's been going on. Dumbing down our workforce, and it's hard to find good people. Spend some time on South Park. Look at the situation there. Look at, all the intellects are looking for work. They're willing to trade their intellectual work for a guy that can just do plumbing. This is how crazy it's getting. It's just completely off the rails in terms of what's happening. And then tomorrow it's going to be, we just don't know. It's going to be weird. So are you going to stick with me? Give me a like and give me a comment and keep me on the air, or I'll just disappear tomorrow. I'll see you at the camp, and we'll meet in the showers. We'll have a little rub-a-dub-dub before they gas us with whatever fucking cyanide pill they have. It's going to be crazy. They'll probably just spread from the airplanes and kill cities after city. They don't even want to do this. See, you remember? Okay, are you a student of history, Renee?
I think so. I hope to be.
So you know about the final solution, right? Like the final solution.
Yes.
Okay. And so you know, like, okay, so the Auschwitz had two areas, right? It had Birkenwald. Birkenwald was the area for all Jewish people. Where Auschwitz was actually for gays, lesbians, queers, anybody, intellects, of course, and anybody who didn't agree with the other part of the system went to Auschwitz. But when they started going into the final solution, they really started going after the Jewish people. They wanted to call them out, right? Okay, they were processing like 15,000 bodies a day. And they kept it all secret because if they knew if they knew they were going to their death, they would revolt. So they kept up this big idea that Birkenwald was just like country club. Okay, that's what they do. This is how it goes. I mean, these guys really don't have another script for it. Okay. In 1984, we called it the House of Love, and that's where you went. That was the Bastille. It took you to the House of Love, and you didn't come out usually. Period. All right. So, I mean, this is kind of the thing. So the point was that we have our intellect to protect us from this thing. We can just, we have to use our mental ability to see past it so that we're not part of this nightmare. And every chance we get, we have to revolt and find a way to do the right thing and say a couple of kind words. And that's why we stopped. Okay, that's what I was saying. You see, it's about assumptions and gossip. So we assume that no one would be this heinous, so we get into the back of the train. And we assume that no one would be this treacherous that they would give us, promise us a nice hot shower with no intention of doing anything with a hot shower. Do you know what I mean? It's like we can't believe it. So I want everyone to understand that they're not telling you what you have to see for yourself what is going on here. Follow your heart. If you feel as though you're not supposed to go in that door, do not go in the door. Listen to yourself as we move forward. And so we're going to stay focused on surfing and another great day. And we are going to, California and where I'm at will be the last place they come. And if they do come over, it still will be the last place. And upstairs in New York too, probably they'll leave you guys to freeze, just to freeze you out.
Yeah, New York is like second in safety. Second to
People are
California.
getting focused on. So we're going to talk a lot about free energy moving forward. We have Renee and I are working on a new series. It's going to be a lecture series based on Play WholEarth game. And I want to go through page by page, chapter by chapter to see if I can help you guys get in the game. Let's get in the game together because it's more fun to play than it is to work. It's that simple. So keep coming back. Stay with us. I want you to go ahead and hit that like button. I want you to hit the share button. Let's see if we can get up to a couple of hundred subscribers on this thing. And let's see what we can do next, okay? And if you have a big idea, I want to hear it. But before you do, I want you to take my course and I want you to read my book. And based on my course and based on the board of directors that I put together in my book, I want to then talk about solutions. I don't want to start with like some other wild things. We can start from my guys, then we can work out. There's the women behind those men, and those are the unsung heroes too, and that is super important. There's so many women who have been leading the charge in the movement. And there's some, we've got solutions right around the corner. So we will do this thing, and we can make California strong. And if we can make New York strong, and New York and California, we can weather the storm here. We're going to have to do it again. It was north and south. It'll be north and south, east and west. It'll be midfield. I don't even know. But pretty soon they'll start waking up to this guy. And you'll see what happens. So thanks for much. I'll see you next time. Renee, what do you got? What's the last thing on your mind before the end of the world?
Well, why don't you always say that you don't want to give power to the fear. So maybe you can end with some advice for people who are really, really terrified because of what's going on tomorrow. What's the best attitude to keep?
Well, you know this. Okay, so fear, shame, guilt, and doubt. But the one that is the strongest one is love. So give me a thumbs up if you think love wins. That's it. We know love wins, so this other thing is ridiculous, right? It's been put upon us. These things are something that doesn't really exist, and you can't find any. You cannot. Fear doesn't agree. It's not even real, right? Doubt. If you have doubt, if you have faith, you have no doubt. What's the other one? Fear, shame, guilt, and doubt. Okay. Shame. Why would you be ashamed to be a human being and just being who you are? Don't be ashamed of who you are. Love yourself. Okay. Look at that. Look at the thing behind me. The lights there are just so gorgeous the way they are. The pink and the green and stuff. Okay. And then fear, shame, guilt, and doubt. Fear, shame, guilt, and doubt are not real. The only thing that's real is love. Now, I love myself. The universe loves me. The universe wants me to be the best person I can be. God wants me to be. God loves me. Jesus loves me. I am loved. So I will love other people. Now I become Trace Magistus. Now we're magic. Now we're ready to go. We can just, whatever comes our way, what's going to happen? What do you think, Renee?
That's what we got to do. That's perfect. That's what I'm going to do tomorrow, and not going to let fear win. Love wins. Love always wins.
Go out
Love wins.
March. Now, if you're one of those people who want to go out and march, go march. But don't get hurt. So if you find yourself in a tough situation, just step away. Don't go towards the fight. Go away from the fight. Step away from the fight. Use that intellect. Use that strength to step away from the conflict. Do not contribute to any violence tomorrow. Violence will never be the answer. Love wins. Let's see if it doesn't. Okay. I'll see you next time. We will be sending you on all of our subscribers. We're going to be sending you a notice. So be ready, and we will see you for the first class starting soon.
If you're one of the very, very few people getting this message,